Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out episode 17 of Summertime Rendering. And can I just say that So has been through a lot in the last couple of episodes, between the daring battle with the shadows, and then learning that not only is his mom a shadow, but his dad has been feeding people to the shadow, and then his sister has been all tied up in it. And then at the very end of the last episode, we learned that Shide is a descendant of his family. He's been through a lot and has not been given much time to actually process through any of that, so I feel bad for him. I also feel bad for Tokiko, but she's been kind of more in the know for a while, whereas So it's just this has been a few days for him. His friend drowned, and then all of this other stuff has been happening to him in a very short amount of time. So I want to give him a hug, and I just want to help him through some stuff, even though I'm probably not qualified enough to do that. But I feel in this episode we may be getting a flashback to actually learn something about who Shide is, and how he got mixed up in all of the shadows of it all, and probably how So's family got mixed up in the shadows of it all. You know, maybe we'll actually get to see his face. We had kind of hints of that when they were going up against him, but no reveal yet. So I'm excited for this. I don't really know if watching the show is excitement that I feel, or just the need to have more information, but also knowing that it'll probably wreck me. And with that, let's get into the episode. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm still not used to this new opener. I don't think I ever actually looked at the lyrics of this. I'm just having a moment. I also I wonder if there's a story behind why Shide's form has multiple arms. I guess every human has multiple arms, but more than two. If there's a story to that, or if it's just a cool design that is somewhat aquatic life you know, it's kind of spider thing that he does, maybe is the reason for it. Decision is a bit of an ominous title. That might be a little bit hard to explain, to be hey, we intruded. Gonna look past the fan service because it's always weird. It is curious though, but the whole alright. It is curious to have that like switch in Heine's personality and how it basically resulted in uh I'm like I'm like distracted by the intensity of this conversation. I don't think choosing I don't think oh that's a good line though. I don't think using violence against Shadow Mio is a good idea. I love that like your sister's real shadow. Well, at least he didn't feed his wife to them. That's something. Ugh. If he is not happy. But also Thistle. I'm just saying. They both deserve an apology. I do. I can think of him as a bad guy. I'm okay with that. See, she makes good points. Oof. You look tired. Good question. It's true. When did he actually sleep? I feel like this is a bad idea though. It's gonna be like, get some sleep, this is your last chance, and I feel like something's gonna happen. Even though I don't want something to happen, but what are we doing? Shouldn't wander off from the group. Aren't you supposed to be watching them though? As they like watch over them because they're asleep? I feel like she's not gonna wait out there. Yeah. Pardon? Oof. Glowing eyes is never good. Isn't that usually when they like transform? And like, if it was that simple for him to get rid of the shadow, then he would have done it forever ago. It's true though, like, not only is it like, could it be a copy, like a full copy of the person that you love? Yes, but it also killed the person that you love. Ugh. She was from him this whole time? That whole like birth thing? Ooh, you for surviving long enough. Uh-oh, headaches. Ugh, no pressure though. I still love how Cookie named her shadows. Oh, sorry. You better be nice to my boy, so. Aw, that's sweet though. And pretty smart. Or getting the long hair back. You could have regenerated anything and you were just like, I'm gonna get my hair back. Maybe she could only do her hair because it was a strand of hair, but like it is helpful though because she can use her hair to do all those like tricks and stuff we got the last time. Oh, he did not look at her when he said that. I don't believe that he believes that. He's like, I mean, he's got more time between the loops now, so maybe he can loop back and it'll be not as bad, but yeah. Oh, I guess that would be weird in Japan. Oof. I never really thought about it, of like her having blonde hair and blue eyes and how that would be weird in Japan because I'm just used to anime characters having weird hair and eye color. I don't know if she ever really learned that lesson. I'm starting to get a little bit worried that Shinpei like does not seem to be as upset about some things. Like I said before, that like I'm like he's probably gonna need a lot of therapy after like dying multiple times and then relooping. Yes, aloof is what I think of. That's not terrifying. Oof. See, that seemed like a little bit more emotion when he had to like actually face this person that meant a lot to him. Fair enough. Oh, that close up on the clock though, like time is definitely ticking before the like ritual sacrifice. Also fair enough. That's good information to know. That the original body is gone. I feel like talking over the phone would be like not a good way to communicate when you're dealing with shadows. How would you know they're shadows or not? It just clicked in my brain that Ushio is the watch again. I'm sorry that it took me so long to pick up on that again. Because I think of the watch as like time ticking, but it's also like Ushio just like being in disguise. Is he Shide? It just like clicked in my brain that that might be what's happening. Hmm. Besides the fact that my brain is definitely a little bit tired as I'm recording this because like this show needs a little bit more from my brain, asks a little bit more of me. I feel like a lot of that episode was kind of like the calm before the storm, right? Like a lot of it was like prep. They kind of like skipped through a lot of things where like we came up with a plan, we split up into groups, we were making sure everything was safe, we were kind of revisiting things that Shinpei knew was going to happen before the festival. Like it's all kind of in this prep to take out like as many shadows as they can before the festival happens, make sure everybody is safe as possible, again before like a huge ritual sacrifice, so I don't know how safe everyone can be. So that episode was a little bit more like recap. There were some good things with like character with like Mio and So, of like them finally getting like a bit of a breath in all of this, because I feel like both of them have kind of been like pushed into this, especially like Mio, who's just like having to exist with like the fact that her sister is a shadow and also there's another her that's a shadow. Like that must be really weird, but she just kind of has to go along with it and be okay with it, again with only like a few days to actually have this be her reality, where like these stories she heard as a child as like folk tales are like real, and now she's facing off with like near-death experiences and trying to protect her family, but like also her family is kind of a shadow and it's like a whole thing. So I'm sure that she's going through a lot. I feel like, you know, we can get into the whole focus of her like having feelings for like Shinpei and like not knowing what to do with that and that kind of a thing, but I think that the real core of the issue here is when the shadow Mio said, your sister's real shadow, right? Like you are the complete opposite of who she is. And I think that that's like the core of her insecurities and her need to, I feel like, be part of this, to help people, to kind of like push herself into situations that maybe she's not the most comfortable with, is because she's trying to be Ushio. Like she's trying to be this person that she looks up to. And that happens a lot with like younger siblings and older siblings. I say that as a younger sibling, that there's always that moment in your life, especially when you're like a kid and then you get to a point when like you're a teenager, like Mio is here, where you start to like develop your personality. But before that, you're basically just copying the people around you, and your sibling is like the easiest one to do because they're closest to you in age, but they're a little bit older usually. My brother's like quite a bit older than me, but I still was like trying to be like him. It's not like trying to be an adult, it's like being another kid, but the one that you're around the most and is a little bit older than you. So I get her wanting to be her sister in that way. And then when her sister died, it was kind of like, how does she fill in this role that she isn't actually qualified for? Like she can't actually be her sister. So I'm sure that there was a lot of stuff, like she's still grieving in a lot of ways, and now we have all this other stuff thrown in. So I think that that's like a really interesting part of it, and like that might also be part of why she kind of feels the way that she does about Shinpei. Like, is it because she actually feels that way, or is it because she wants to be her sister and she's like connecting to Ushio? And like we can go back and forth about whether or not Ushio like actually has romantic feelings for Shinpei. I don't really think that that's important for this current discussion, but I think like it's what Mio sees, right? It's not like who Ushio actually is, it's the vision that Mio has in her head of who her sister is as like an outsider. So I feel like it could kind of switch either way. Like, does she actually feel the way that she does about Shinpei because of who she is, or because she's been trying to emulate her sister for so long? I don't know. I think it's an interesting discussion to kind of like see where she develops as a character and how she kind of deals with the fact that she has this shadow that knows her entirely. Like, you know, like it's the same thing of like her seeing her sister, her trying to understand Ushio as an outsider. This shadow Mio knows exactly who she is. Like, how scary would that be? Like, to actually be face to face with someone who knows exactly who you are and how your brain works. I would be terrified, because I have to live here, but I don't need it talking back to me in person. I don't need it talking to other people on my behalf, you know? So I think that there's a lot of interesting things with the character moments in this, of getting to see people breathe. I'm a little bit worried about Shinpei because he's getting tired. He's talking about headaches. He's being like a little bit more emotionally distant, a little more emotionally like off, right? He seems to be dissociating a little bit more, which makes me worried. It's understandable though, given everything that's happened, but it makes me worried about him, because speaking of people who haven't had a chance to take a breath, when was the last time Shinpei like actually got to like do something normal? He wasn't even on the island yet and weird things were happening. So it's one of those things where I feel like everything's kind of catching up to him, and if it's right before everything is about to go down, that makes me nervous. It makes me nervous that he's not quite at his peak performance right before the festival is about to happen. But I think that this guy that he's meeting up at like where the festival is going to take place, I think he might be Shide. Like, that might be his actual like human form, and we just haven't seen it yet, and he's just been like lurking in the background of all these scenes as like this friendly character, which makes me just like, I don't like it. I don't like the way that it makes me feel. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to this next time I post a summertime rendering reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.